Hi everyone, this is William, and I'm here with Todd and Liam, bringing you the NintendoSoup podcast called Spelling the Soup. We're here to give you all the latest updates about Nintendo, everything related to Nintendo, and we of course had a direct this week, so we'll be discussing that in great length. But just to give you guys an idea of who we are and what we do, once again, my name is William. I'm a news editor for NintendoSoup. And one of my favorite franchises from Nintendo has been Pokemon. I've been playing since Sapphire, so back in Generation 3 in Hoenn, and have been playing every region since then. So yeah, and with me are two other hosts, Liam and Todd, who will introduce themselves right now.
Hey, I'm Todd. I'm the reviews editor and one of the reviewers for NintendoSoup. Honestly, right now my favorite Nintendo franchise has got to be Splatoon, I think. Having a lot of fun with that. And yeah, excited to be here for our debut episode.
Welcome.
Hey everyone, this is Liam. I'm a review editor over at NintendoSoup. Probably one of my favourite franchises is Super Mario. That will be because of my parents buying me a NES with the original Mario game when I was a kid, and that's where my love for Nintendo began.
Nice, that's awesome. For me, I started off with the Game Boy Advance SP. Todd, what was your first console from Nintendo?
Oh man, my first console as a kid was the PlayStation 1, but my first Nintendo console was the Game Boy Advance.
So yeah, we are going to cover a ton of different things with the Direct, but just to give you guys an idea of what we've been playing recently, though we covered a bit of our favorite franchises, I have been getting into Fire Emblem. I just learned about the franchise earlier this year. I saw it on sale for my birthday month, and tried out Echoes, actually, as my first game. So immediately got hooked and have been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses since then. I've completed Black Eagles, the rogue route, you might say, the one where you go with Avagard, and then I'm at the last battle for the Blue Lions, which I've now tried at least 6 times and have lost the unit, which I will not accept. So I've been retreating and trying to figure out how to beat that.
No spoilers, though. I haven't had the chance to try Three Houses just yet. But man, ever since June, I've been busy playing the Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, which is on the Switch and the other consoles. So that's what I've been playing.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, you are playing that mostly on Switch?
I'm playing it on Switch and PS4. Gotta unlock everything on both systems. But yeah, the Switch version holds up really, really well. And you're really not missing out on anything by getting it on Switch. It's fantastic on every console.
That's awesome.
I've been playing 2 games at the moment, just got sort of jumping between the 2. The first one is River City Girls that I reviewed for NintendoSoup recently. That's a lot of fun. It reminds me a lot of the old 90s games like Streets of Rage, sort of the old school 2D beat 'em ups. But it's got a really cool Japanese anime Harajuku style to it, which is a lot of fun. Another one I've been playing is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which was bought for me. And that's a lot of fun as well. I'm a big Marvel fan, so I'm about halfway through that. Just managed to just beat Magneto recently. And I'm now in the Dark Dimension, which is pretty cool.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, I've just been watching some playthroughs. I'm not sure if I'm getting that yet. I still have one voucher. I was originally saving that for Astral Chain, though I'm not sure I'm going to use it for that yet. So I'll see what I end up.
Astral Chain looks really good, but I have not had the chance to jump into that one yet either.
What I would say about the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is when you watch playthrough videos, it does look like a sort of button mashing type game, but when you're actually playing it, it's not like that at all. It's all about jumping between the different players in your team and maximizing their abilities. And I've actually been really surprised about the characters that I've put into my roster. I expected it to be characters like Thor, Captain America, but it's actually been characters like Miss Marvel and Crystal that have been the most beneficial to me and my team. So it's actually, there's a lot more strategy to it than I thought there would be.
Nice. Yeah, that's good to hear, because I also kind of worried about that, where it was just going to be the kind of classic Avengers being the ones you have to use the most. I really like the versatility and love seeing the new characters. Like I've seen the scene where they introduce Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, and Miss Marvel. And super excited to see them in the game for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're going to jump into the Direct, which happened this week. We got a surprise announcement, basically, with that. People were kind of hinting or at least rumoring that it would be coming out this week. And then we got an announcement that it was coming on Tuesday, I believe, or is it Wednesday?
Well, I think I actually got tricked because I saw someone tweeted something about a Direct for the 6th of September, and I was like, yeah, that's it going to happen. But it wasn't until I actually went back and looked at it. It was for the 6th of September 2018.
Yeah,
I got fooled there.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I unfortunately was at work, so I didn't see it right when it was live, but I definitely had a ton of messages and updates on social media from it. I think a lot of it, and this has been a pattern I've probably seen in the last few directs, that a lot of it has been getting kind of spoiled or leaked beforehand. So yeah. I wasn't super hyped necessarily to see like the newest reveal for some things, but the details were the things that really got me excited. So I think if you want to start off with like Smash, Banjo, of course, everyone knew that was coming soon, but it always is exciting to see it when they say out today kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have only played him for like a minute or so, but it's been really nice to feel him in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's becoming quite common for Nintendo Directs for information to get leaked before they come out. It does spoil the excitement a little bit. For example, Overwatch obviously was leaked a good while before the Direct was even announced. So when it did actually show up, and I am a big Overwatch fan, it wasn't quite as big a burst of excitement as it would be if I had known nothing about it.
Still very exciting to have it confirmed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's coming out in October, right?
Yes, October 15th.
Yeah, I think it's the 10th.
I have it right here. It says October 15th, and it's available for pre-purchase now.
Oh, okay. Unless they they're releasing it 5 days early in the UK, which would be interesting.
Possibly.
How do you guys feel about Overwatch coming to Switch? I have a few thoughts on it. For my history with the game, I think I started playing last winter back in 2017. So I know they've gone through a few changes right now, but how do you feel about its timing right now for the Switch?
So my experience with Overwatch, I have it on PC, but haven't played it a whole lot. I don't even have a favorite character or main, but it's a really polished, really fun game, and it's really cool that it's gonna have full voice chat and everything coming to Switch as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, I didn't know about the voice chat feature. Actually, I also have a PC, but I didn't even think about that coming to Switch. Did they give any details of how that's gonna work?
Yeah, I think you just plug your headset into the Switch, and it's voice chat on the Blizzard servers. It works kind of like how the voice chat works in Fortnite and that kind of game.
Okay, I didn't know about that. So is that limited to only handheld mode? Because the Pro Controller, or at least I haven't seen any controllers that have headphone jacks for the Switch.
So you can simply just plug in a headset into the system within the headphone jack, even when it's docked, and use it that way.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Well, good to know. My other first thought with this was it feels a little late to add Overwatch to the Switch just because it's been out for a while now.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Though the caveat is that we also got the announcement from Sakurai about Super Smash Bros. Getting more DLC fighters. So with that added information, it feels like the game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, is going to be receiving continued support, which means the Switch will likely be receiving continued support. So with that context, it makes more sense for Overwatch to come now because they'll probably be here for a while, given that the Switch seems to be sticking around for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure that the release on Switch will bring a lot of new players to Overwatch, because for a lot of people, the Switch is their primary console or their only console. They don't have a powerful gaming PC, and they'll finally have a chance to try out Overwatch.
Yeah, definitely. I am excited to see how the motion controls work as well, because as you probably can tell, I'm always excited to see how a game can incorporate that feature.
I'm a big fan of motion aiming.
Yeah, I wonder what the what the logistics are going to be for all the different attacks, since we saw, I think, Junkrat's ultimate work. I'm not sure what else could work potentially with just with a kind of concentrated motion control aspect.
I think it could be good for a character like Symmetra with when she throws out her turrets. She can obviously throw them from a distance, so you can maybe use the motion controls for targeting that way.
Yeah, I could see that. Other than that, maybe D.Va when she's flying, you kind of like navigate her around, which would be fun. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with that. Overall, do you have any ideas or potential thoughts about how they might make new Nintendo-themed skins for characters in the game?
Oh, have they announced anything along those lines, or is this just speculation?
Right.
Just speculation, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much they could do with all the different Nintendo properties, from Samus to Link. Like, you see those skins in, Bayonetta with the Princess Peach skin and the Samus outfit. So there's a lot of different things they could do there.
Yeah, definitely. I forgot about that incorporation with Bayonetta. I think the one that immediately jumps to mind is giving Farah a Samus skin, since she basically has the outfit already. So that would be fun to see. So I've seen some art of people putting Hanzo in a Link outfit, which to me seems a little forced. I could see Link being incorporated into a lot of different characters.
I personally would like to see Princess Daisy, going into the D.Va suit.
Ooh, yeah, that would be fun. They would probably make that like a legendary skin or something, or give it like alternative colors with Daisy or something.
Sure.
So they can make the most of that design. But yeah, other than that, how do you guys feel about the legendary edition of the game coming to Switch and not any of the other ones?
So, I'm not really sure what the differences are there.
So, as far as I can tell, the legendary is really, it just has like some bonus skins included in it. And typically, I think it just costs a little more than the base game.
Right.
I think it makes a lot of sense to bring, the legendary, the ultimate, the definitive edition, to bring that version of the game to the system, especially for a game that's come out so long. So I think it just makes sense to me.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's good that they just kind of wrapped it up and sent it all together as one thing. Since you see other companies not putting the full package or the full version that other consoles get on it. I also wonder if the sales are going to be as applicable to the eShop as well. Since when I first bought the game, it was like a December sale where for 3 days or something, it was half off. So I could see a lot of people picking it up then as well, if people want to try it out, but not necessarily spend the full $40 for it.
I just wonder how the game's going to work online, whether the Nintendo servers will really be able to handle it if the game's popular.
Yeah, that's a good question. I personally didn't see a lot of issues with Smash, just depending on where I was and when I was using it when I first started playing it. But I could definitely see Overwatch being impacted by that heavily.
See, I don't really have problems playing Smash online. Mine's is Mario Tennis. Sometimes you can have a match which plays absolutely perfectly, and then you can have another match where the signal is so poor, it's like old school dial-up internet speeds. That's how it feels.
Oof, yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the Overwatch would use Blizzard servers. I wouldn't be too worried about the connection there, especially if you have, a wired adapter, for the smoothest connection there. It's not as bad as Smash or Mario Tennis, where so much of your experience depends on your opponents having a good connection. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the online there.
Let's hope so. Overwatch is a pretty great game.
Yeah, definitely. I really hope it goes to its full potential when it comes to Switch. So definitely online is a big factor for that. And just speaking of online and other franchises here, Smash, of course, got its big reveal with Banjo coming out on the day of the Direct, and then we got the announcement for the newest character. What do you guys think about Terry coming to the game?
I'm going to be honest, I have very little knowledge of this character. It was leaked a few days earlier that there would be a SNK representative, and I had to go out and Google exactly what SNK is and to even get an idea of who that character might be. But from what I've seen of the character, he looks very cool. I mean, we've only seen about 2 of his moves. So I think it's a little early to judge how he'll be as a fighter to play as. But from what I've seen, I'm optimistic that he'll be another great addition to the cast.
Yeah, I was basically in the same boat for that. I have no idea who Terry is or what SNK was referring to. So it's in that weird boat where part of me says, oh, it's cool to have this character and this franchise that has really little visibility, but has definitely seen some legacy to it since it came out over 20 years ago at this point. But the other side of me is like, oh, but there's a lot of characters that I would like to see in Smash that I think people have been more fond of, or at least more familiar with in the last few years. Though that side of me is a little less affected by it now that we saw the second part of the announcement, which is that we'll be getting even more DLC characters after the initial 5.
But I think you saw a lot of disappointment when Hero was announced by people who, don't know a lot about Dragon Quest, and they were maybe hoping for their favorite character. But I have not seen a whole lot of disappointment or people being upset about Terry. And I think, like you said, a large part of that is because they've announced that even after the Fighter Pass is complete, they're going to keep making and releasing new characters for Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have to say, I do have Super Smash Brothers, but I'm not actually that big of a fan of the franchise. I don't know if that's just because I'm really terrible at it. So the only character I'm actually any good with is Kirby. I'm pretty terrible with everyone else. So maybe that's why I don't play it as much as most.
Got it, I see. And, well, that's also a fun thing that I kind of found out is that Kirby seems to be a really accessible character no matter which Super Smash Bros. Edition he comes in. And I feel like that's really neat because of his signature copy ability. It lets you kind of try out an ability that you might like on another character. And I think that's how I kind of got my interest in other people that I play in the game, which is it's a whole other discussion, but just something I kind of noticed. It's just maybe a neat design choice. But yeah, I am overall excited to see other characters that maybe have low representation outside of the franchise and for people who are familiar with Nintendo. But I have seen a lot of lashbacks for people online who are protesting the game, already thinking about ways to kind of just make it miserable for people playing the game. One post in particular that I saw was saying people just tweet and review bomb the Neo Geo games and just disconnect from anyone who plays Terry online, which I think is pretty extreme and immature in many cases. So have you guys seen any of that? And what are your thoughts on some of the reactions from people?
Oh, I have not seen any of that. That surprises me to hear.
Yeah, same here. I've not noticed anything like that.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just saw this online and it feels like hopefully it's not that big. It's maybe a minority, but it seems like not a great way to act with other people, especially. And if you don't want Terry, just don't play him. Is kind of my thoughts on that.
Just to reference the meme that rose up around Hero, the hoes are mad. There's nothing you can do about it.
That was the title of the image I saw. Actually, is the hoes are mad part 2. So I think the difference might be at least Hero is represented in his own game on Switch, or at least will be soon. While Terry is something that I think people have no idea what he's about or where he's coming from. Though I did really like his introduction, which I think gives a lot of context and background of what the character is about and from what kind of era he is coming from.
Yeah, that trailer was really well done, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, other than that, have you guys been able to try Banjo?
I have not had the chance, but I was planning on playing some Smash Bros. After we finish this recording, so maybe I'll give my impressions next week.
Cool. That sounds good. Yeah, he's pretty recent, so I barely had a chance to touch him. I think he's not necessarily as kind of wacky or random as Hero can be, which is to say that Hero seems to be pretty fun to play. Banjo is a very versatile character from what I can tell in just his attacks, his projectiles, and plays kind of like Yoshi along with some other attacks put in there.
I did watch the presentation with Sakurai showing off the Banjo's moves, Banjo and Kazooie's moveset, and from what I can see, he looks like a very fun character. Definitely be giving him a go.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, he hits hard and he uses Kazooie pretty offensively and to maybe not Kazooie's best health interests, given all the physical trauma that he's experiencing. But it's just funny and fun to see him in the game. The stage I tried out was his, I believe it's called Spiral Mountain. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, Spiral Mountain.
Spiral Mountain, okay. And that one seems simple, but it rotates around and feels nice to kind of change up the stage just a little bit without feeling it morph too dramatically, per se. Other than that, related to Smash, we also got a ton of Mii fighter costumes coming out.
I know where this is going.
This introduced an Undertale character to Smash in the form of a Mii fighter costume for Sans. This was really interesting, and watching the New York Nintendo store reaction to that made me feel pretty happy because it looked like people were really excited to see the character come in some way to the game. And it's just really cool to see the design and really fun way of presenting the character, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I watched that that video of the live reaction in the Nintendo store in New York City, and you just saw the room explode when you heard the first notes of the Megalovania theme, and you have Sans there in with the Mii Gunner costume, and he's dodging attacks and and firing at people with his Gaster Blaster.
Yes, seeing that as the Mii Gunner's weapon design was just perfect. I actually haven't played Undertale, though I have seen a few playthroughs of it, and love the impact that the game has had on just the video game discussion in general. But yeah, what do you guys think about this presentation? Because in some ways, it's cool to see Sans in the game, but given that we now know that there's more DLC characters coming, do you think this automatically excludes Sans from coming as his own DLC fighter?
Yeah, I don't think that we'll see Sans as a DLC fighter. As significant as Undertale is, I don't think that it exactly rises to that level of being a fighter. But at this point, Undertale is such a meme game, and Super Smash Bros. Is such a meme game that anything can happen. Now, I think my favorite thing about the reveal was seeing some tweets from the creator of Undertale, Toby Fox. I'm going to go ahead and just read these tweets. I have them up here. I'm so shocked that Sakurai-san talked about our meeting. If he's going to mention me, then I have to tell everyone that we listened to a CD of Smash music as he drove me home in his car, which I kept calling his Batmobile. I didn't have a translator with me, so I had to use my own broken Japanese to talk about Smash. It was one of the most surreal and fun experiences of my life. I'll never forget that. So, as amazing as Sans coming to Super Smash Bros. Is, in my opinion, and I love Undertale. I reviewed Undertale for NintendoSoup. I gave it a 10 out of 10. So I think Undertale is a total masterpiece. But my favorite thing about the whole thing is the fact that Sakurai drove Toby Fox to his house and got his butt kicked in Smash Brothers by Toby Fox.
Liam, were you aware of Toby Fox's involvement and new relationship with Sakurai?
No, I didn't actually. I'm not really that familiar with the Undertale game.
It came out 2015 at this point. Is that correct?
2015 or 2016. I'm not 100% certain.
Well, it's just for some background. It's been a pretty popular indie game that came out just a few years ago, developed and published by Toby Fox, and it's been on PC, and is it on Xbox and PlayStation as well?
I think it's on PlayStation. I don't know if it's on Xbox.
Got it. Okay. But it has gone around and kind of just blew up as its own thing and just entered a ton of different uh, franchises such as toys and other side games that fans have made, as well as a kind of successor to it in the form of what's the newest game called again?
Deltarune.
Deltarune. Thank you. And that's an
It's not a
amalgam of
prequel. It's not a sequel. It's just a game with some of the same characters, some of the same themes. There's no direct link between the two. At least is in the one chapter that's been released so far.
right, and it's a chapter structured game that's free from what I can tell.
Right.
Yeah, chapter
And
1 is free. The rest, I think, are going to be released. The rest of the game will be released all at once, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but the rest of the game will be paid. So chapter 1 functions as kind of like a demo, kind of like a first chapter kind
yeah,
of
just
thing.
kind of an introduction to the game. And yeah, it's just blown up and has a lot of classic tropes in it, but really kind of subverts them, I would say.
Right.
And a really interesting storytelling experience that has a lot of kind of retro style love in it. But yeah, he is also in. Toby Fox is also revealed to be involved with a new project from Game Freak as well.
Yeah, Little Town Hero, is that what it's called?
I believe
Yeah.
so. And this game has been teased now for a while. That Game Freak is coming out with it, and it just has been labeled Town in the past. So
Yeah.
this is kind of the first look about what it's going to be about. What did you guys think about the presentation of My Little Town Hero?
I think it's definitely an intriguing game. You can tell that a lot of love and effort has gone into it. Like the character designs are all really creative looking. You know, the monsters are very scary looking. Um, I'm curious to find out more about the battle system. From what I've seen so far, I still have a lot of questions, but it definitely looks interesting for sure.
I thought it looked really cute. It wasn't quite what I expected when they initially revealed it. When the working title was Town, I thought it was going to be more like an Animal Crossing style game. So when they revealed that it was actually like a sort of RPG style game, I was quite surprised. But I think it looks super cute, and I am quite interested to find out more about it closer to the release date.
Yeah, Animal Crossing it is not.
Yeah.
Though I could definitely see that, and just judging from the aesthetic of the game, I immediately thought it was a bit of a fusion between Animal Crossing and Pokemon. And then looking at the battle system, it definitely reminded me of Undertale. So I'm wondering if Toby Fox had any influence with that, or just the game influenced the people at Game Freak making it. But overall, it looks pretty neat, and I'm excited to see where it goes for sure. I really have just loved Game Freak's work with Pokemon so far. So I am always hoping to see that they are able to do their own thing as well, and not just totally tied to the franchise.
Yeah, that's true. And Little Town Hero comes out October 16th, right
Not
around
long
the
to wait.
corner.
Yep, right after Overwatch. Then this has also been a interesting discussion, I think, with Nintendo, because it feels like these past 2 months and then the next few months going forward to the end of the year are just absolutely packed with releases. We're getting Pokemon coming out, I think Bayonetta 3, Overwatch now, just a ton of games that people have been wanting, and other games that have been announced recently that I think people are super excited about. How do you guys feel about this kind of schedule of releases for Nintendo?
Yeah, it has been very packed, almost overwhelming. You had Daemon X Machina coming out next week, and that's right on the back of Astral Chain, which came out last week. And then before the end of the month, you have another gigantic RPG coming out with Dragon Quest XI S. So it's very packed and very overwhelming. As a Nintendo fan, I have to pick and choose which ones I want to give my time to. But I think it's great. It's building up a really fantastic library on the Switch.
Yeah, I think that's, at the end of the day, I think more games are better than less, especially given that Nintendo's Switch collection didn't have a necessarily huge start when it first came out, and some people referring to it as the Zelda machine. So I'm happy to see that overall, and definitely feeling that kind of pressure when they go to the eShop and say, "All right, what's in sale? What do I really want?" Now that I know that this game's coming out and this game's coming out right after it, what am I gonna do with my money, basically?
I think they've learned their lessons from the days of like the GameCube, the 3DS, the Wii U, where people would buy the consoles at day one, and then they would have like several months where nothing really was coming out. And I know as a Nintendo gamer, I would always buy the consoles on day one and would always feel a little bit frustrated when there was such big gaps between games. So now our problem is that for me at least, it's like one game a month, which again I don't think it's really anything to complain about. Like Todd said, it's better to have too much than nothing at all.
And just speaking of having too much, what did you guys think about everything else that came in the direct? Were there any other standouts that you guys saw, or other games that you were really hyped for? I know there was a big teaser for something that's going to come out next year at the end of the direct.
Which one are you referring to? Animal Crossing or Xenoblade?
I think Xenoblade, it's the one that, as far as I know, was a big surprise. We had the creator's wife actually tweet about it, I think the day before, but other than that,
Oh, really?
as I can tell, yeah, and she's been known to only tweet when there's some kind of monolith software news coming up. So people were already taking that as a signal that something was related to Xenoblade was going to be announced for the.
Also, she's a bit of a canary in the coal mine for Xenoblade news.
Oh, really?
I guess I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard of that before. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles. What do they call it? Definitive Edition, coming in 2020. Yeah, that game is a masterpiece, and I've seen some of the comparisons floating around. It looks like they really dialed up the graphics up to 11. I think they mentioned it came out in 2012 on the Wii, just 8 years later. You can see that a lot of progress has been made in the graphical capabilities. Yeah, and I think a lot of people are actually surprised that Xenoblade Chronicles X, that's the one on the Wii U, hasn't been brought over to the Switch yet. I guess that's because they've been busy making this, I don't know if it's a remaster. I guess you'd say remaster of Xenoblade Chronicles. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, playing through that again.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have always been interested in Shulk since I've been using him in Super Smash Bros. Ever since he came out for the Wii U and 3DS version. So I would definitely take a look at this game since I always am curious about the games that the characters in Super Smash Bros. Come from. But I did try watching the movie version of where people kind of compiled the scenes of Xenoblade Chronicles into just one big cutscene. I started off and the graphics turned me off, as well as the 10-hour length of the video. So hopefully I can just experience it for myself when it comes to Switch in its new remastered version.
I didn't play the one on the Wii. I do have the one that was for the Wii U, but I haven't actually played it. It's still sealed in a drawer somewhere in my house. But I do have the Shulk amiibo, so I know exactly who we're talking about.
Nice. Hopefully the amiibo has some compatibility with the new game as well.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I know that the Shulk amiibo unlocked a couple things. I can't remember exactly what it did, but it had some use in the 3DS port of Xenoblade Chronicles. So I would be surprised if it's not used in some way in the remake or the Switch release.
Yeah, I think the way it was presented is a little vague for sure. I can't really tell if it's a remaster or remake, though I did see in a video that it looks like there is a new area that wasn't originally accessible in the game that looks like it's now going to be a place that you can walk to or at least go to in the new definitive edition of the game. So it's kind of in that middle ground where it's looks like it's updated graphics, but there might be some new content there as well. Other than that, Luigi's Mansion also got some news. It's not necessarily a franchise I'm familiar with, so I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts about it.
I'm a big fan of the Luigi's Mansion games. That was one of the titles that I got for at launch for my GameCube. And so I'm a really big fan. Wasn't so keen on the one on the 3DS just because it's a smaller screen, so I found it a little bit more difficult to actually see a lot of what was happening. But Luigi's Mansion 3, I think, looks a lot of fun. So that will be a day one purchase for me.
Nice, that's awesome. What were some of the new features or content that you liked seeing from the Direct?
I think really it's just all the sort of the different rooms. Like they showed you like the Egyptian room, and there was an underwater one. So it's not just going to be a case of Luigi going through a haunted mansion. It will be Luigi going through all these sort of basically different worlds, just like the other Mario games, but with ghosts. So I think that Nintendo had really pulled out all the stops to really diversify the game from the other two.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, the Goo Ouija, I believe is what it's called,
Yeah,
adds another element to it that I think interests me, as well as some of the multiplayer that I think they showed in this Direct as well.
Oh yeah, an 8-player multiplayer mode.
Oh wow, it was 8 people? Okay.
Yeah, like up to 4 people on Team Luigi and up to 4 people on Team Gooigi for a total of 8 players. I was pretty impressed with that. And remind me, Will, did you have the chance to demo Luigi's Mansion at E3 this year?
No, I didn't. It was one of the few games I didn't get the chance to check out there. But I definitely saw a lot of people who are familiar with the franchise just look really excited after trying it.
Yeah, I mean, I've played the 3DS Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, but not the original. And I think on the first day of E3 when the doors opened, Luigi's Mansion was the first game that I demoed.
So, cool. Okay.
One of the first. I was really impressed with the gameplay at that time. And it was a pretty short demo, so a lot of it was spent trying to figure out the controls. But I really appreciated a lot of the little touches they put in with the motion controls and everything like that. So it looks like a very fun game and definitely looking forward to release. I don't know if it'll be a day one purchase, but it's definitely a game I'm looking into.
And do we have a release date for that as well? Assuming October?
I think we do. Let me find it here. Luigi's Mansion 3.
It's Halloween.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
October 31st. That's it.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that sounds like the perfect time to release it. Animal Crossing as well was featured in the Direct. Did you guys have any thoughts about that?
Now that's going to be a day one purchase for me, for sure.
Leo, did you have any thoughts about Animal Crossing?
Again, Animal Crossing is a franchise I've not played before, but it is one that I do want to get into, so I probably will pick this up on day one as well and finally see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah, I have been really happy just watching people's reactions to the game. There are, in just the trailer so far, people really loved it. It's not something that's interested me in the past, but it feels like this upcoming version of the game, or installment of the game, better said, is pretty holistic, and I think something that I would appreciate playing on my Switch both at home and on the go. So I'll definitely keep an eye on it and see if it's something I pick up.
So have neither of you ever played Animal Crossing before?
Nope.
No.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I picked up Animal Crossing New Leaf pretty late in the 3DS life cycle. I think it was several years after the game originally released. They released a patch called the Welcome Amiibo Update, which added a campsite area, amiibo compatibility, and a bunch of other new things. But it was around that time that they dropped the price down to $20, and I said, okay, I'll pick up Animal Crossing, see what the fuss is all about. And I definitely did not regret it. It's such a charming game, very addicting and very fun to play. And with all the new features being shown in the upcoming, I keep forgetting the subtitle, Animal Crossing. What's the subtitle on that one? New Horizons.
New Horizons.
There we go.
Like with the crafting and the ability to put furniture outside and the ability to make paths. They seem like just little things, but they make such a big difference in what you can do with your town or I guess your island in this upcoming game with Animal Crossing. So I think the fans are going to really enjoy that one when it finally comes out March 20th, 2020.
We have a bit of Pokemon news, which is, to me, I'm a little mixed on because I like seeing some of the new features and some of the new Pokemon reveals, but I kind of just want to go into the game not knowing a lot. The way they showed it in this direct felt pretty clean with the introduction of some of the camps and curry cooking and ways to kind of interact with your Pokemon seemed pretty fun, as well as the kind of suspense for as people look in the trailer for which Pokemon will actually be coming to the game, and the introduction of 2 new Pokemon, I believe, Poltergeist and one other one, which I'm trying to remember here.
That's Cramorant, the flying and water type Pokemon.
Thank you. Yes, Cramorant, who has an amazing ability, if I might add.
I love his ability.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on Poltergeist, or Poltergeist is how you say it, which I will always now mess up. But I'm just kind of excited to see how Cramorant works in the game, given that it seems like it's limited only to surf and dive, that his ability activates, where Gulp Missile can actually launch an attack after being attacked by a Pokemon, after it uses one of those moves. And it's funny to see how, now that we've moved away from HMs, that his move or his ability is kind of tied to 2 moves that were originally HMs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's cool to see other ways to interact with the Pokemon, and kind of cook and do things, which to me is reminiscent of the newest Fire Emblem game that I've been playing, where you go and sit down to have meals or tea with students as well. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they've shown so far. Just watching Leafy Island run across the field was so nice. I'm excited to see if they bring a new evolution, what it might be about. But I really will want to use one of the past ones in the game, if not.
Yeah. I think for me, I think what I'm liking about Pokemon is that I think a lot of people have realised that they've kind of based the region on the UK.
Oh, right.
Which is where I'm from, yeah. So the one thing I have to say is I do quite like the idea of making the food, but no one here eats curry, rice, and sausages. That is not a thing. So let's just dispel that right now. Curry and rice, sure. Sausage and rice, sure, but not all 3 together. Mm-mm.
Oh.
Better write an angry letter to Nintendo about that.
How dare they put all those...
Exactly. I do quite like that they're showing their Britishness now by making the ghost Pokemon, a teapot.
Yes.
That's very British.
I should have expected it, but watching it and the reveal for the Pokemon was just pleasant. Because, of course, they would make a tea Pokemon. It just makes sense for the region.
Sure.
I wonder if it will have a pre-evolution or baby evolution that is just a teacup, because that would be brilliant.
Oh my gosh, I hope that happens.
But yeah, other than that, I did try the demo at E3 and enjoyed that. It was just kind of fun to walk around through the gym, although they definitely did not want you pulling up the menu to check your bag or Pokemon, so they only let you do that in battles. And that's where we learned about Yamper, Impidimp. And so far, I think Yamper is one of the newer ones that I'm excited about, as well as the whipped cream one. Is it Acrelli, I believe?
I know what one you're referring to.
I don't remember the name off the top of my head. I need to get these Pokemon names down.
Yes. I'm actually still trying to catch up on the Alola Pokemon because I kind of sped through that game and definitely need to complete the decks with a new Pokemon in there. But yeah, those seem like the ones I will likely have on my team, at least to start off with. All right. Any other thoughts about Pokemon?
No, I think we've covered everything on what was revealed.
Yeah. I think, Liam, you wrote down SNED. Was that something that you want to talk about?
SNES, yes. The SNES Online launching yesterday.
Oh yes, of course. We have the reveal of the Super Nintendo games coming to Switch Online, and I am excited to try out at least Link to the Past from the Legend of Zelda series and Mario Kart. But what do you guys think about these games coming out?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I have barely touched the NES games at all. But now that the Super NES games are coming to Switch, I'm definitely going to try Super Metroid, probably some Kirby. And I look forward to seeing what other games they add. Try the Donkey Kong Country games. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see those Super Nintendo games making their way to Switch Online, complete with the rewind feature and all those other features you expect.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
same
think
here.
for me, it's the ones I'm looking most forward to are obviously the Super Mario ones. So Super Mario World is one of my favorite Mario games. I love it for all the different star exits. It's probably one of the most challenging 2D Mario games out there. But I'm also quite looking forward to trying out Kirby's Dream Land and F-Zero. Those are two games that I didn't play when I originally had a SNES. Um, as for future games, I would definitely like to see Donkey Kong Country, as was mentioned, and Super Mario All Stars, just because that's the souped up versions of the NES ones, and I think they're a lot of fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be great to see.
yeah, and just speaking of the games that I'd love to see you with the SNES coming to Switch Online, Chrono Trigger is one that I've heard about for a while now, and seems
Mhm.
like something that I would love to be able to play on the go.
Yeah, now Chrono Trigger is not a Nintendo published game, so I don't think we would see that making its way to the Nintendo Online app. However, there was I think, a fairly recent, within the last few years, release of Chrono Trigger on Steam. People really didn't like it at first, but it's been fixed with some patches. So maybe eventually we'll see that version of Chrono Trigger making its way to Switch.
Yeah, definitely was something they would have to figure out if it's something they could even bring to the system. But I at least like a digital release or something because it feels like one of those games that's really been hard to access up until its release on Steam. But other than that, I also want to check out Captain Falcon's game now that we have, well, at least I've seen him in Smash and have barely ever touched anything in this franchise outside of that. Um, it's apparently not a multiplayer racing game, but I think would be fun to check out since I played on the stage. That's basically the game in Smash Bros.
Let's be honest, though, Captain Falcon at this point is more of a Smash character than an F-Zero character.
Yeah.
That's very true. I recently watched a video from a parody website that that was kind of making fun of that aspect where they say Captain Falcon first received his F-Zero franchise game when he was introduced in Super Smash Bros. And
Yeah.
from there, they made its own franchise. So, yeah, I don't know if the series will ever get revived. I think that makes it even more boring to just go and check out the game that he first came.
I think we'll
Uh,
get a new F-Zero game the same day we get Mother 3 released in the US.
that's yeah. I would estimate that as well. I think that pretty much covers the direct news. So if you guys have any sales that you've been checking out on the eShop that you guys want to share, I have one I think I took advantage of recently, which was for Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus to be specific. It's a game I actually first found out about a few years ago and never figured out how to play it because there wasn't any console I had. And then my roommate, who was from Scotland, actually was playing it on his computer, and I was like, "Oh, cool! Is that Binding of Isaac?" And he's like, "Yeah, do you know about it?" Like, yeah, I kind of just checked it out once online, but never got the chance to play it. So that was one of the favorite games that we would play together, taking turns. Him mostly watching me die and get good upgrades on my run, but I've really loved just having it on my Switch to play on the go. It's currently half off, and I think a pretty good deal if you haven't checked out the franchise at all.
Although I think that the Nicholas sale is ending pretty soon within the next day or two. So jump
Yeah,
on that fast if it's still going on by the time this goes up. I'd also really recommend Cave Story The End Is Nigh, and VVVVVV. All three games that are absolutely fantastic and are currently on sale as well as part of that Nicholas Publisher sale.
Cool. Liam, did you have any games you wanted to shout out that people might want to check out from the eShop?
The one that I would probably recommend at the moment is one that's not out yet, but is available to pre-order on the eShop, was Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. If you pre-order it, it's currently 10% off, and you get the pre-order bonuses, which was the Trousers Top Tonic pack, which is like costumes and some extra items, but they're only available if you pre-order the game. So at the moment, that's shown on the eShop here in the UK as $22.49. So I would recommend anyone looking to buy that to get it pre-ordered.
Is there anything off the Switch that people want to recommend? I have one, which is one that I actually just tried out last night as a demo because I said, why not? And it is called Radiant Historia, A Perfect Chronology, which I have vaguely heard about in the past, but had no idea what it was about. It's basically an RPG with a time travel element to it, which already automatically hooks me. But it seems like a really fun game, and from what I can tell, people have really enjoyed it so far. And the demo has been pretty intriguing, to say the least.
And that's a 3DS game, right?
Yes. I have been checking the 3DS eShop because I am waiting for any DLC for Fire Emblem Echoes to possibly go on sale, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Those games have way too much DLC.
Yeah, definitely. But it's still nice to find things like Radiant Historia and little gems like that go on sale. There are also some other games on sale from Capcom and Ubisoft, but I believe those sales have ended. So as always, I would recommend just going to Nintendo.com, checking sales and deals for anything else that's coming out.
So you mentioned games we've been playing off Switch. I've actually been playing Dragon Quest XI on PC lately, ahead of its Switch release. I think I'm less than a third of the way through the game, but it's a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend checking out Dragon Quest XI-S Definitive Edition, or whatever it's called, when that does release on Switch.
Is that it for sales, or is there anything else that people want to mention?
Nothing else on my end.
No, same here. All good.
Awesome. All right, then. So just to end off this first podcast of Nintendo Soup, we have a question of the week for all you listeners. So our question of the week is, what was your favorite part of the Direct, and what are you excited to see from it? Let us know in the comments of the podcast what your response to the question of the week is, and we might just read it off next week when we do the podcast. And we'll also have an email in the near future where you can send your responses to, so be on the lookout for that. And once again, we are Spilling the Soup, a Nintendo podcast. All of us are writers for the website Nintendo Soup, where you can get the latest updates about anything Nintendo related. I've been William.
I'm Todd.
I'm Liam.
And we will see you all next week. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next time.